This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Yes, always good to see a familiar face. Some of you we recognize from last week. I'm kidding, of course. We really can't see you, but we are glad you tuned in for another edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. Hey, if you like adventures, we've got one for you today. Coming up, travel with us as we highlight the Georgia Grown 37 Trail and all the wonderful agritourism spots it has to offer. Also on the program, from his battle with cancer to 35 years of service with Georgia 4-H. See for yourself why Bo Riles was worthy of the organization's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Plus, since the age of 16, Owen and Williams Fish Farm has been both his life and his passion. Now, with his mentor facing the biggest battle of his life, how company president Brian Simmons is hoping to preserve the legacy. All this and more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
If you're looking for a beautiful scenic drive that also will give you the opportunity to visit many different types of small farming operations, then get off the interstate and travel across Georgia on Georgia Grown Trail 37. The Monitor's Mark Wildman recently did just that, and he has this report.
Georgia Grown Trail 37 connects Homerville, Georgia in the east with Fort Gaines, Georgia in the west. But the highway is much more than that.
Well, you're looking at Georgia's first branded agritourism trail. Georgia Grown Trail 37, a collection of all 36 or so premier agritourism assets along Georgia Highway 37.
It can not only provide a peaceful, beautiful ride, but can almost take you back in time when road trips were fun, leisurely, and full of many wonderful places to stop and see.
What we like about Georgia Grown Trail 37 is it brings you through some of South Georgia's smaller towns. Very unique towns like Lakeland, Adel, Moultrie. A lot of folks just enjoy getting off the highway and seeing what's out in the countryside and kind of reliving their childhood or bringing their grandkids out to see what life was like on the farm.
One of the more unique farming operations is Georgia Olive Farms in Lakeland, where owner Jason Shaw and family press some of the best olive oil in the world from olive trees grown just off Georgia Grown Trail 37.
Olive oil is a product that most people are using here now, and the fact that we can grow a local product that most people are out there raving about it because it is a really good fresh product. We've got an upper hand on the market because with olive oil, freshness is the biggest key to quality. And obviously with us growing it locally and we're trying to do it right, we can produce a really good product, and so it's been exciting, and we've had a lot of support.
Not only does Jason work hard on his farm, but he is also a member of the Georgia House of Representatives, where he worked hard on behalf of the trail, and he feels that Georgia Grown Trail 37 is a great asset to the state.
When you put everything together and you've got all these different farms that are part of the trail, folks are able to come down and see not just one or two places, but they're able to see a diverse group of things going on in this part of the state and get a good idea. And it's just a lot of fun for folks that have been taking the opportunity to hop on the trail and see what's available.
As you travel west from Lakeland, you pass many more attractions from wineries to you pick produce, and you also get a chance to visit a small family dairy. At Sparkman's Cream Valley, near Moultrie, you can see cows being milked, milk being bottled, and you can buy that same milk right out of the cooler next door.
The freshest milk that you'll get is from the cow to the bottle in less than 12 hours. People are so far removed from their food supply that they have no concept of what it takes to run a dairy farm and the real issues that we deal with, even handling the issues, handling the animals and stuff. I mean, we think we do things that are as good as you can get in this industry. You know, we take pride in what we do. We handle our cows in a very safe manner, and our milk quality speaks for itself. I mean, we have the longest shelf life in the state for fresh milk that's been pasteurized.
Georgia Grown Trail 37 has much more to offer. And next week, I will take you to one location that is making legal Georgia moonshine. Reporting from Georgia Grown Trail 37, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Mark, nice job, sir. In other ag-related news, according to a survey by USDA, most of the rented farmland in the U.S. is owned by non-farmers. The survey looked at nearly 354 million acres of farmland that ag producers both rented and farmed. Now, of those acres, they found that 80% were owned by non-farming landlords. Additionally, the survey found that 91.5 million acres of farmland outside of Alaska and Hawaii is slated for ownership transfer in the next 5 years, and that's not including farmland that is in or is expected to be put into wills. Well, listen up, blueberry producers. A new study finds that blueberries could be a great way to fight gum disease. Using extracts from the wild low bush blueberry, Canadian researchers discovered that the blueberries inhibited inflammation as well as bacteria associated with periodontitis. The findings could lead to reduced use of antibiotics to treat the serious gum infection. Well, ready or not, it's about time for peanut growers to fire up the tractors and start digging up their fields.
But what is the right time where quality and yield are at their highest? Damon Jones tells you about one such test that is invaluable to the farmer.
With Georgia being responsible for nearly half of the peanut production in the entire United States, striking a balance between the best quality and the best yield when harvesting is important to the entire agricultural industry. That's why things like this peanut maturity test is so valuable.
The peanut crop itself is an indeterminate crop, so it's always putting on peanuts. And so there's going to be a point where the vast majority of these peanuts are going to be mature, and the peanut farmer needs to know when would be the best time to harvest.
As for the best time to get the crop tested, it's important for the farmers to start planning well before they intend to start their harvest.
I like to start somewhere around, the ones we brought in today, they were 111 days old. And we knew that they shouldn't be ready, and we put them on the board a while ago, and you got some shots of it, and they look like it's going to be at least 21, 24 days. And we'll see the more immature ones move over into a sound mature kernel, and hopefully not get in a position where we've lost some of them. But it's a good thing to get a start 2 to 3 weeks before you anticipate they should be done, based off just the date.
And to get the most accurate results, farmers first have to put in the groundwork, gathering plenty of samples from each sector of their field.
There's an old saying about the best thing you can put in your field is foot tracks. And you need to get out and you need to get a representative sample of the field. You know, if you have to even just drive through the peanut rows so that you can get all the way to the other end of a field or other end of a pivot, it's going to help you in getting a good sample so you're representative of what's out there in the field.
As for the test itself, the vines are first checked for diseases like white mold and leaf spot, and then around 200 peanuts are chosen and picked from each spot in the field. From there, the tester will be looking at the color.
Before we blast the peanuts, they all have a white tannish color to them, so we take the pressure washer and we blast them. And if you were to take a peanut yourself and scratch it off, you'd see that it has like a darkish, blackish, brownish color to it. And that's what we're looking at. So the more mature a peanut gets, the darker the color is going to be. And
this is how the peanuts should look on the board, as this slope shows the crop is maturing at the proper rate.
Because they're indeterminate crop, they're going to make a bell curve type shape to them. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the vast majority of those peanuts within that bell curve to the darkest color, which is black.
And once the majority of the peanuts reach that color, it's time for the farmers to begin their harvest, as improper timing can prove to be very costly.
If you miscalculated and you dig them a little too early, it could cost you $40, $50, $60 a ton. So we want to try to identify, you know, the exact and best time, and then you've got to take the weather into consideration and a lot of other things. How many you've got to pick, you know, how fast you can pick it up, what's the conditions of the vines and all. But this gives us a baseline to start with.
Reporting from Camilla, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Damon, thank you, sir. Now, still to come on the program, new numbers that show the average net farm income is down, and what one economist says needs to happen in order for it to go back up.
But first, with his mentor battling a terminal illness, we sit down with Owen & Williams Fish Farm President Brian Simmons on how taking over the day-to-day operations was both difficult and a natural progression. Stay tuned. You're watching the Georgia Farm Monitor.
And we welcome you back to the Georgia Farm Monitor. As you know, Georgia has many small farming operations that are open to the public. And if you're looking for one to go visit, you can find a list of them in the Georgia Farm Bureau's Certified Farm Markets brochure or on the web at gfb.org. One of those farms is Jibbs Vineyard, and its owner is Howard James.
Jibbs Vineyard started as a hobby, about 18 muscadine vines, and we came up with the name because it's my mother's nickname. She passed away about 2 years after I got this started, and she was quite excited about it, so I felt like this would be a good way to remember her as Jill. That was a nickname. We want to catch people's attention mainly with quality, a good tasting fruit, a safe, healthy fruit, and at the same time a quality product for a good price. I'm near the town Byronville, Georgia. I'm about 5 miles north of it. We're out here in the country pretty much, but somehow people are finding us. We got a good product, and somehow it draws people to us, word of mouth, and we're on the internet and things of that nature, and little by little we're becoming quite known. This is the best crop we've ever had. Somehow we got a tremendous fruit set. We have a large grape, we're getting adequate rain, and we just believe it's going to be one of the best years we've ever had. Consumers come here, we want to give them I call it a comfortable atmosphere. We want to, for those that are from the old school, we want to make you think about the old times where you sit in the rocking chair and just rock back, and we make sure you get plenty of samples, watermelon, peaches, muscadines, whatever. We want to make you feel comfortable. And for that reason, it's been a good thing for us. I like the peace that we get here. It's a peace, it's a coolness, a wind blowing, and I try to make it that way, and all that I can do to add to it, I will. But that's one of the compliments we get when we get new customers. They say it's peaceful and comfortable, and we like that.
Well, for many of us, a day of fishing is a way to relax and get away from the normal stresses of everyday life. But for Brian Simmons, president of Owen & Williams Fish Farm, fishing is not only his livelihood, it's his passion, something he fell in love with at an early age. Luckily for Brian, he has a very good mentor in Paul Williams, a man he calls his second father and a man who's become his inspiration. Here in Hawkinsville, Georgia, the lazy days of summer are just about over. But for Brian Simmons, summertime means business as usual. Although he admits this time of year is when things start to ease up a bit.
Busiest time of the year is normally February through June. Normally we're kind of slow, what I call candy to candy, from Halloween to Valentine's. So as Paul's always said, we're not really romantic around here, but we love the flowers and the candy coming out in February. It means business is fixing to pick up.
The Paul Brian mentioned is Paul Williams, the man who started Owen & Williams Fish Farm and the man who gave Brian his lucky break.
I'm one of the very few fortunate people who found a job that they really enjoy at an early age. I grew up here in Hawkinsville, started working at the fish farm when I was 15 for a part-time job. Really found it interesting, kind of unique. Had some great tutelage, you know, from Paul Williams, the owner of the farm. Went to school to get a degree in fisheries, you know, to come back here to work. This has been a great 25 years or 22 years of livelihood. Very few people get to work with fish during the week. Like I said, started part-time, sling blading and spraying Roundup around the ponds, and now ultimately owning the place. Like I said, I've worked with Mr. Paul for forever and ever, since 1987, and it was in the spring of, I believe, 2013, where he was diagnosed with ALS. So his day-to-day activities here, you know, had to be cut back. So in the fall of, or September of 2014, I bought the company out, and you know, he's still here as a mentor and still helps, you know, not in the day-to-day operations, but it's great to have somebody of his intelligence, somebody who started this business, to be able to lean on and still draw a daily reference from.
According to Brian, the plan had always been for him to someday take over the company. Mr. Williams' diagnosis of ALS just forced it to happen sooner rather than later. Now that he himself is the man in charge, Brian says nothing has changed. In fact, if anything, it's forced him to take the business to another level.
The biggest thing is, just as a tribute to him, we want to run the business as if he is still here. You know, we don't want our customer service or quality of anything to diminish. We want it to be just like he's still here and the way he wanted it ran. For any business to have an owner or a founder or somebody who started the company be so involved in day-to-day activities, if they just decide to quit one day and you still run the business, it's very hard to fill those shoes because you just can't do it. You know, nobody can step in and do the day-to-day activities that he was doing. So yes, you know, Paul's like another father to me. So, you know, just from that standpoint, it's hard for him not being here every day. But then from the practical side of running the business, you know, that was the best employee. You know, and how do you replace the best employee mid-stride? I mean, you just can't do it.
And with nearly 300 acres of water, including some 80 ponds, there's enough work to keep the 15 employees of Owen & Williams busy year-round. However, Brian admits there will be a day when he himself steps away to let someone else carry on the legacy.
I really want the business to continue to grow. Right now, I'm leasing the land, you know, from Paul. You know, that gives retirement to him, you know, from the business. You know, at some point in time, I would like to own the land as well as the business, but that's not, you know, any type of a pressing, you know, issue at all. But I'd like to retire at some point in time. You know, normally 20, 25 years after starting a job, you kind of look for a little retirement, and I think I started this one a little early for 20 to 25 years, so we may look at 40 or 45 years and then try to retire.
And a big thanks to Brian Simmons for sharing his story. And from all of us here at the Farm Monitor, our thoughts and prayers go out to Mr. Williams during these difficult times. Just a reminder, if you'd like to watch this story again or any others on today's program, you can see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. That is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Once there, you can browse the archive of stories dating as far back as 2009.
And once you're done watching all those informative stories, keep clicking. Like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page that we've set up for you. If you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, feel free to send us a message either on Facebook or at the address listed below. That is news@farm-monitor.com. Well, meantime, the August farm income projection shows a decline in net farm income of 36% from last year. USDA forecasted 2015 net farm income at $58.3 billion compared to last year's revised estimate of $91.09 billion. On a positive note, USDA projects intermediate production expenses to fall 3.7%. That's the first decline since 2009. American Farm Bureau economist Bob Young says some budget belt tightening is again likely over the next year or longer.
I think we're going to have to talk about having open and frank conversations with our landlords as we work on cash rents and share rent rates and things of that nature. Also going to need to have conversations with other input suppliers to take advantage of any kind of downward price moves that might show up this fall or early spring on some of those input costs. It's just going to be a period of really watching every kind of jot and tittle on the balance sheet as we roll forward.
Now, when we come back, see how a lost sheep was not only saved from potential doom, but also set a new world record in the process. Well, if you ask anyone around the state that is connected to Georgia's 4-H program about Bo Riles, first you'll see a smile, then the accolades will follow. Dr. Riles recently won the 4-H National Lifetime Achievement Award. We had a chance to talk with him about his career and his most recent challenge. We caught up with Dr. Riles inside what's called the Georgia Agricultural Hall of Fame at the University of Georgia. Well, his name's Roger, but everyone knows him as Bo, or Dr. Bo, and he claims Dodge County is home.
I grew up in Dodge County. I was born in Sandersville, Georgia, but Dad's Baptist minister. We moved a few times, he settled down and raised me in Dodge County. And so my childhood memories, my days in school and 4-H and football and all those nice things were all in Eastman. I stood back here, and as I saw this Parade of Winners start, and Chancellor, as that music began, and these, you know, I admit I started crying, just thinking, you know, just all the incredible things that happened during the course of a year. I'm so touched. I think to be recognized by your peers may be the greatest thing that can happen to you.
His accomplishments include induction into the National 4-H Hall of Fame, a career as an animal science specialist for the state 4-H staff, district agent, and ultimately the head of the Georgia 4-H, and he holds a doctoral degree in adult education. When we asked him about a recent Lifetime Achievement Award with 4-H, Riles said he was humbled to be selected.
I've been at the right place with the right people for a long time, but in every role I've ever had, I've been surrounded by talented people, hardworking people, positive people, and everything that I've been recognized for with these two awards, I'll quickly turn around and say, oh, it was a lot of people. I was just the person that was in the right place with all them. And I do feel blessed that life has given me these opportunities to pursue something I'm passionate about, something I believe in, and something I believe that makes a positive difference. But I'd also quickly say all those people who enable me to be where I am today and what happened, and these awards, this recognition coming about as a part of that.
Riles first got involved with 4-H at age 10. He attended summer camps and competed in project achievement contests. He went on to become a summer camp counselor. He said that's where he fell in love with Rock Eagle.
It's a magical place. The word magic is so often associated with it. It's beautiful. It's a large facility. It's nestled in those Georgia pines in the middle of our state. But the big thing about it is it has, for all these years, it's evolved with the times and continue to be a place where young people can go and learn, but have a lot of fun while they're there.
Since retiring from full-time work in 2009, Riles has been active as a passionate runner, and he still stays devoted to 4-H. There is one more part of Riles' journey that he addresses forthright. That's his battle with cancer.
As I entered into cancer treatment, after I found out I have cancer, and what are we going to do? I was seeking those options and reading and looking and doing the research. I encountered a former 4-H'er at a Starbucks. He asked, how are you doing, Bo? I said, well, I'm great. How are you? How's your family? And then I stopped and turned to him. I said, actually, Greg, I'm fighting cancer. And he said, come tell me about it. And he said, Bo, I'm on staff at the Mayo Clinic. Won't you let us take a look? And there's how I got to the Mayo Clinic. And I look back, I'm convinced that was divine intervention, but it made all the difference because I got with a team that was doing this every day. You go somewhere that you know they're doing this well, they're doing it every day, and you have confidence.
Well, finally today, an overgrown sheep affectionately dubbed Chris has set a new unofficial world record following a haircut from not one, but 5 shearers.
Yeah, this was more of an emergency haircut, if you will. The sheep had been living in the wild for several years and was so woolly that welfare crews were concerned for its health. Now, the man in charge of the shearing is a world champion and called this the biggest challenge he has ever faced and had never seen anything like it in 35 years of work. The massive bundle of fleece tipped the scales at more than 88 pounds. That's enough wool to make 30 sweaters. Now, you're a sweater guy, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
All right.
You buy a sheep or two and you'll have sweaters for life. All right, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Hope you have a great week, everybody.